Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool Podcast. My name is Rex45, and this evening we got Arnell on the show. Welcome to the show, man. It's been a long time as far as you reaching out and connecting and stuff like that. So I wish I would have caught it sooner, but we're here now. Welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. It's my first time on anything.
Okay, that's what's up. No comedy show, no nothing.
Nah. Well, actually, I mean, if you saying it like that, I did some amateur stand-up comedy back in the day, back in the 90s. But I gave that up for some other stuff.
Okay. That's what's up. Well, we'll talk about that later too, because it's funny. I interview a guy who's a road racer and rider and stuff like that, and a younger kid, and vlogger and stuff like that. And
indeed,
he's decided to go into comedy. Mm-hmm. And I believe he had his first comedy show a couple of weeks ago. But when someone else I know that's been on the show it went to the show and said he was pretty good. So it's just interesting when people get into things that they're passionate about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what's up. So let's talk. Some motorcycle podcast. So let's talk about how you got into riding and stuff like that. For me, I think I was always fast as a kid because I was into BMX. So as a kid, I was looking to it, but my parents was like, "Nah, we ain't getting you a dirt bike." So it's something I had to do later in life, and so I've been fortunate now to have been riding for the last 13 plus years, but it took a long time. So how did you get turned on to bikes and stuff like that, and then started riding?
Man, 1986. I had some friends that rode dirt bikes, and I got into dirt bikes that way. And then in 1980, I want to say late 88, early 89, I started racing motocross down at Budds Creek, Maryland.
Okay.
And I just was hooked. I mean, I had clapped out bikes, but I still was getting it. My friends would take me down there because, I was a kid, single parent, mom couldn't get me to the races like that. So my boy and his dad, I used to travel with them and go down to the races and stuff, like the local stuff in District 6.
Hang on a second. So you started on dirt bikes.
Right.
How long before you started racing and what was that thing that said, hey, it was other people racing? What was that thing that said like I'm gonna go racing?
Nah, I mean, I don't know. It's just in my DNA, man, because my friend that I was telling you about, he had his dirt bike on the front lawn. Now, mind you, I live in the city. Yeah. I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, and I lived in the city. And it was just fortunate back then you could park your dirt bike on your front grass, and that's back when dirt bikes had kickstands.
Right.
He used to park his dirt bike on. I was fascinated with it, and I was looking at it. I was like, man, little kid. I was like, man, this thing got a lot of suspension, man. Look at them big knobbies on the tire. So, fortunately, my grandma, who she always nurtures stuff like that, she got me a dirt bike.
Nice.
And I remember I was like, man, I ain't gonna get this dirt bike. I ain't gonna get it. But I got it for Christmas, and I knew I was gonna get it because I went in her pocketbook and I saw the receipt for
it. Nice. What did you get?
I got a 1986 CR80.
Wow. Nice.
That was my first bike. And matter of fact, I'm going on a tangent. Like a couple of years ago, I got that same bike. It's in the garage right now.
No kidding. So the same one you had from 86 a similar one?
Not the same one. I got this from South Carolina.
Okay.
I found it on Marketplace.
Yeah,
I went down there, bought it. I said, I got to get this back.
Okay, all right.
So it's in the garage right now.
So and how old were you when you got the 80? How old were you when you started riding that?
It was this summer. I was right before it was right before I turned 14 because my birthday's in May. It was right before I turned 14.
Wow.
I got it.
Right before summer.
I I was about it, man. You couldn't tell me nothing, man. And that's back like what the kids do now. You see the kids riding through the streets and stuff like that. That's what I was doing. But then we found like some sand lots, gravel pits, and stuff like that, and we started doing that. And then some of our friends in school used to go down to this construction site, and that's when I just felt it then, because you start to see a lot of the local pro riders used to
come in and look for that lot that they can practice in.
Yeah, they used to be down there. I mean, we wasn't supposed to be riding down there, but we did anyway.
Oh yeah.
And then I found out about Millville, New Jersey, the Pine Bearings, and that's where I got my skills from. And once I got into that, then I found out about racetracks and stuff, and I got my district card, and they used to send you the little book to show you where the races was and stuff like that. And that's when I started racing. I started racing the summer of '88.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I started racing, but I ain't do too good because I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was good, but I really wasn't.
Right. Well, that's what happened when you get to the racetrack for the first time.
Yeah. But it all came together, man. Just start going to more races and stuff, and then figuring it out, and start looking at like races on TV and try to emulate what they do. Because like one of my heroes is Rick Johnson, from one of the superstars from the '80s. That's my hero, man. Matter of fact, I got the helmet painted just like his back behind me.
Oh no, that's dope. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And wow. So in '88, you were going to the track. So was it like, how often were you going to the track?
It was like
how racing.
It was, for the most part, it was, my friend used to go every week because he had it like that.
Yeah.
Me, I think I probably twice a month.
Okay.
If that. Most of it, it was twice a month, after like the summer of '89, it was twice a month. And then like 1990, I was going every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and I assume you were starting to get it and figure it out and all that.
Yeah, I started figuring it out. I still wasn't like, I was like just missing the trophy, because they would do like the top 9, but it'd be like almost 25 riders in the class.
Right.
Like, I was just missing trophies, man. I was like you have like 15 riders, and then they might give you the top 7. Okay. And I'll get 8th, then miss the trophy. So I used to get bummed out about it, but I was like, it ain't my turn yet. It ain't my turn. So eventually I got it,
Right. And so how long did you get to race for?
Oh man, I gave it up probably 2006. Yeah, 2006, I kind of like gave it up because now I was thinking about giving up earlier than that, because this is a story like a lot of people, only my best friend really know about it, and my dad. 2001, like right before James Stewart went to the pros.
Right.
He raced the Race of Champions at Englishtown.
Okay.
And it was the 125. No, it was just the open class.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm gonna sign up for that class. I ain't know it was gonna be in that class. I just wanted to race with the fast guys. It was him, Barry Karsten, and some Jim Capitan, McIlvain, Casey Clark, a lot of the fast local guys. And I was just happy to be on the same track with them at the same time.
Right.
Man, James, he lapped me, and he had a half a lap on Barry Karsten.
Wow.
Man, I said, man, I can't do this. And he was 15 Now me, I was 29 when that happened.
Right.
He was 15 on a 125. Wow. I was like, man, this dude, he was about it, man. I was like, man, this dude is about it. And that was like probably like the last real pro race or expert race I ever raced.
Right.
Said I'm a race in my age group next time.
Dude, but that's pretty.
I'm gonna race 30 plus. I'm gonna race all the 30 plus classes because that's the dudes that's my age.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so now, wow, that's pretty dope. So you raced for like 16 years.
Yeah. It was a thing because I didn't have nothing else, and that was my thing, man. That was just my thing.
Because I think at 88, like I grew up, we might be similar in age, but I was in Dorchester in 88. I was 15 as well, 16.
Wow.
And, we were like, I had no access to dirties to ride because they would like, we had a feel that like kids used to go, but you brought your bike out, somebody might come along and try to take it from you
that's
too.
What I'm saying. So, and that's why I took it. That's why I took it to the track, man, because it's like, I got 6 tickets at one time for riding my dirt bike on the street.
Right.
And the judge told me, he said, if I see you in here again, you're going to have some big problems. So I stopped. That's when I took it to the track. I said, I can't afford that.
Right.
That's when I got my driver's license.
Got you. So that all came together. Wow. That's pretty cool, man. To be able to do it, from 15, 16 to 29 and so forth. So now, so you started just racing the over 30 after like 2006, or was that?
No, this was like around, I would say 2003. I started racing the over 30 class.
Okay.
That's just how it went because I got a better bike, a newer bike, and I felt real confident, and my bike was feeling right, and I was feeling right. My body was feeling right, and I felt like I was that dude, and that's when I started getting like top 3, top 2. Right. I got a couple first places. It's a place here. It's not there no more. It was called Blue Diamond Motocross. That's when I got my first ever 6-foot trophy. It was the opening day, new track in my hometown that was like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, that's pretty dope, man. I think, that's one of the biggest things. Like I live down in Florida now. Been down here almost 2 years, and, in Boston, we had New Hampshire Speedway. As far as I did more road stuff, I didn't do any. I haven't really done any dirt racing or anything like that. Okay. But that was like an hour and a half. Other than that, was you talk about Melville. I went to Jersey. Yeah, that's the big track, not the small one. Right. Not Thunderbolt, the other track. Lightning. Lightning, and but we'll hear the dirt bikes across the way. You can kind of see a little bit bikes, getting here.
See all the dust and stuff.
You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty. That having a track 15 minutes and. We've talked about this on the show in the past. In the city it's hard for kids to get to tracks, and so like having a track 15 minutes to your crib, bro. That gotta be that must have made a whole world of difference. Yeah, it's like and like I don't know, like right where I live at, I hear them almost all day during when the weather permits. That's all I hear. I hear the Banshee 4-wheelers. I hear the dirt bikes. I hear the 4-stroke 450s out there. And a couple times I was like, man, I had to G check some of them, man, because they was like kind of like a little bit pissing me off because it's like they was just reckless. And I was like, man, I said, man, I got to G check these dudes. Not to sound funny or nothing like that, but I did that when I was young, but we ain't do it like that. Right. Y'all drawing attention to yourself, man. And that's why we got the issues we got now. Right. So, no, and I mean, that's well, I think there's two parts. I think the lack of places to go to actually ride those bikes has created the younger generation and how they react. But they still are wilding out.
Yeah, they get kind of wild. But I mean, I get it. But at the same time, it's like somebody got to say something because it can't get reckless.
No,
you can have fun, but don't get reckless.
Exactly, and I think that's when you're young. It's part of it. I mean, I was in the car, so I was doing reckless things in the car. So definitely, I was one of them being reckless as well. I'm unfortunate that I came out on the other side because you never know.
Good.
You know what I mean? And so that part, but you know, where we are today, and I may go off a little bit since we just kind of where we are in the topic. I think we're at a place where, like, you know, local town government needs to get involved and provide something for kids to go take their bikes to a place where they can be safe and have fun. And then maybe you can dial back the recklessness with some training. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. It's like I don't know. It's like I almost want to. I don't know how I could possibly work on that or get it in place, but go to like the township or something or somebody, city officials or whatever, and see how I can get involved with these kids riding up and down the street, so they can do it a little bit in a little bit more safer way.
Exactly, and I've talked about it with some folks in a nonprofit arena, and you know, it's one of those things like we kind of have to just do it once. You know, even if it's just 5 kids, you know, small amount of kids, bring them out, make it successful, show them what can happen, and then, you know, ask them to be a part of it, because the community will be happy to not have the kids on, like in Boston, they have like one day a month in certain towns, neighborhoods, I should say, that they shut down the main street so people can just walk all about without worrying about cars and stuff like that.
Indeed. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it could be something like that. Like, you know, one weekend or one day, you know, there's a trailer, we pack up a bunch of bikes and we go to the track for the day, and people can enjoy the neighborhood for the day, and these kids can see what happens, because you also got to convince them that going to the track is better than riding on the streets. And, you know, riding on the streets is free. So that's always easy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was like, man, it got to the point a couple of times, man, I had to give them 2 of them. I was like, man, nah, I can't do this. I'm sitting out there cutting the grass. I was like, nah, come here. So I had to I actually gave away 2 of my older helmets. I mean, they wasn't bad, but they wasn't good. But it's better than wearing a bandana.
Yeah, that's a huge part. I mean, I see these videos on social media and stuff like that, and you know, we see the stuff that people walk away from. But, you know, we know that there's stuff that people aren't walking away from. And as a new rider, you may see that stuff and think like, okay, in the worst case, you might get some scratches and stuff like that. But that's not the worst case. And, you know, it's a culture where, I mean, where it is now, and I don't know a lot about like the urban riding, for lack of a better word, you know, the dirt bikes and stuff like that. Like, I don't know enough about it, but it is, you know, I think it's similar to like, you know, these Harley riders and some of these guys that I see, and women, no helmets, no gloves, it's just free.
Yeah,
you know?
Man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. I mean, I like speed. Yeah, you gotta have the stuff on, but I don't get it, man. It's like, I don't know. We had, and I just talking to a friend today. I was like, at the least, we had a helmet, goggles, gloves, boots. We had some jeans on because we couldn't afford the full motorcars gear back then.
Right.
And that was, at least we had that.
Yeah. No, there's a you know. Yeah, I know there's people on social media that are telling people they can, you know, learn how to ride on 1,000 for their first bike. They don't need as much gear as they have on and all these things. And so there's some bad information being put out there by people as well. And like I said, I think a lot of new riders, like myself, anything new, I go to social media and or places I can learn from. And if there's some misinformation in that, it can cause you, dearly. So let's talk about, so at some point you got into road racing as well, right?
Yeah.
And what was that like for you? And why did you decide to say, hey, let me start doing some road racing? And I assume you're still doing the dirt racing too.
My stories are long, but anyway.
It's all good, man.
The girl I was dating at the time, she got a bike. She got it from the dealer, which is 10 minutes from my house. So she had it delivered to my house.
Okay.
Because you know how if you don't have a driver's license,
right?
You can't ride it off the lot. So it was delivered to my house. And I ain't gonna lie, the day it got there, got on it, and we took a ride. She was on the back, and I was not. I ain't had no license, no permit, no nothing. I just got on, and it was like my second time on a road bike.
Wow. Okay.
It was a 06 GSXR 600.
Okay, nice bike.
So I rode that. My second time on a street bike. So I was riding it like I knew what I was doing, and it just I just got into it. I knew what a clutch was. I knew how to do all that stuff, but it just felt different, way different from a dirt bike.
Right.
But I figured it out. Then let me see. 2 weeks later, I got my own bike.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
It was a 06 Ninja 636.
Okay, that's what's up.
The black one.
Yeah.
I had plans for it. I said, I'm gonna get the black one so I could put monster stickers on it.
Okay, then that's what's up. And what did you think? And what was that like? And I
had a hard time with that one because I thought I knew everything, and like I didn't know foot position, body position, nothing. I was still riding it like almost like a dirt bike with my elbows up.
Yeah.
I was like, man. So that week, 2 weeks after that, I took a ride up to Philly by myself.
Okay. Wow.
I went to South Street. I met this dude. I ain't know he just I parked on South Street by Fat Tuesdays.
Yeah.
He parked next to me. And when he pulled up, I looked at his tires. I was like, Dad, man, you can see the threads on this dude's tires. I said, man, he got a raggedy bike. Now, mind you, he had an 09 ZX10.
Yeah.
Not an 09.
06?
06. I said 09. So I'm looking, I'm like, then he just starts talking to me. Then he said, man, I'm going to go meet these girls, man. This, and this. He said, you want to come? I said, yeah. Okay. So we leave downtown Philadelphia, get on 95, hit 76.
Wow.
This dude takes off. Now, mind you, he got on True Religion jeans, an Ed Hardy t-shirt. He got the Under Armour vest on.
Yeah.
And some seedy boots.
Yeah.
So he takes off. Man, this dude was doing like 150 on Route 76. They call it the expressway, but the locals call it the E-way. So hey. I'm looking at this dude. He going in and out of the cars. And I'm like, dang. I said, man, I got to keep up with this dude. So I'm trying to keep up. Now, mind you, I'm still a rookie.
Right.
I'm trying to keep up. Next thing I know, he just gives it more. I don't know if he released the throttle, went over with this hand, and then started twisting some more. This dude is gone. He get around the turn. It was like a left-hand sweeper.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I see sparks coming from his foot because he dragging the foot peg.
Yeah, damn.
I'm like, man, he's dragging the foot. And then later on, I was like, man, that dude was dragging a foot peg in a t-shirt. I'm like, man, it's going like 170. So we get up to the plateau.
Yeah.
In Philly. Now I ain't noticed at the time, but he's part of a riding group in Philly called the Knee Draggers.
Okay.
And I didn't know that at the time. I was like, dang, it's more of y'all. Now when we got to the park, the other dudes in the group were suited up.
Yeah.
They had the leather jacket with the race hump. Now they had the the Ghetto Fabulous catchers guards, baseball catchers guards with the knee pucks.
Yeah.
Velcroed onto them. I don't know if you see on my page. I got that set up too, but that's when we riding on the street. That's how I met them, Knee Draggers.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know they all raced. I just thought they was just dudes like hooligans that rode on the street like that. But they actually all raced. And then, like, as I became cool with them and friends, there's like more and more of them. And the more knee draggers I met, the faster the next guy was.
You not meet people until you move to the next level.
Yeah, so you meet people like, yeah, that's I don't know, they're Shy Boogie, Quick, Fritz, and the guy that started all, his name is Wolf, but his government name is Tommy. Yeah. So I'm meeting up and Rich, I don't know, all them guys, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
DJ Birch, he heavy into racing.
I don't know him personally, but I've raced at the same tracks with him with Azra CCS. So we've chopped it up. Yeah, so DJ Birch. But yeah, man, I just met them and I said, you know what? I gotta do something different. And the reason why I said that is because we went on a bike ride and I saw somebody die in front of me. We was coming, we had a good day. It was a met up Valley Forge area. It was at like a Hooters type thing. We was coming home on 422. For some reason, this guy wanted to take off. He had a 2011 R1. Now, mind you, he had the full race suit on that day. Yeah. And he took off, and I took off behind him because it's just in my DNA. Right. So he took off. Now he started to get tight because they had road construction on 422 going past Valley Forge Casino. This pickup truck kind of like swerved over a little bit, but he kept coming. And my man that was in front of me on the R1, he hit the driver's side rear of the truck. Right. And he was done. Like he kind of did it like a tumble. And then I went past and he went over me. Wow. And I was and then they came up to me. By the time they got up to me, they said, yo, man, he gone. And I was like, man, I was done. I was done for like a month. Right. Yeah. And go ahead. Go ahead. No, that's it. And so, I haven't seen something like that while. I mean, I've been at the track when there's been a fatality. So I know what it's like from that perspective, not necessarily seeing it firsthand. You know what I mean? But being there, meaning that I was on the track when it happened. But it was the first race of the day. It does, you have a moment where you have to it's I don't know if it's a process of sort, but you kind of question what you're doing and look at things and not necessarily sober up, but sober up a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I was like, at that moment, everything happened in slow motion. It was like almost a real slow motion. I was like, and then I was like, man, how come he ain't see that? But I'm thinking, because he only been riding for like a year and a half, and he was 22 years old at the time.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, man. But that's usually how it happens, the riders with the least amount of experience. I was like, how? And I kept saying it in my mind over and over and over, how he didn't see that? How he didn't see it? If I'm behind him and I saw it, how come he didn't see it?
Right.
So I was like, I'm still bugged out about it to this day, but I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, no, experience is a huge deal. I've crashed a bunch of times. I've lost my spleen, got a screw in my hand. So I remember my first time, and I thought of everything, like what could happen. I never thought of a deer running across the highway. What I'm saying? So it's when you're inexperienced, you miss so much, and the faster you're going, it takes a little bit of time to come up to speed for me, for myself. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things with riding, right? For new riders, I always say, it takes me if I get a new car or it takes me about a year to get comfortable with that car, to really kind of know what it's going to do. Because I don't think, maybe, Lewis Hamilton and some of these, pro riders can learn a vehicle a lot quicker. But unless you're out there going, 100% every single day,
yeah, man,
you're not going to know how it reacts under certain situations.
Yeah. And like me, I had my one time thing. I woke up in the hospital. Now, mind you, this when I got after that, I got my 05 GSXR 1000.
Okay.
And I was up in Philly, just mind my own, just doing whatever. Another girl I was dating at the time, I left her house and I wanted to go meet up with the fellas coming down Harbison Ave. And even to this day, I still don't fully remember what happened. I just remember saying, "Oh fuck," and that was it. Now the car, it was SUV. I remember a SUV. I just don't know what color it was. I can't remember or nothing like that. But I'm just going by what people were telling me.
Yeah.
They said I woke up in the hospital. The cop said half my body was in the driver's side window, and the other, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The other half was out.
Yeah. So I'm like, now this is what I'm thinking. I'm thankful I met these guys, the knee draggers from Philly, because they riding with them helped me so much. Because the cop said when he looked at the footage, because they got street cameras.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, I don't know how you survived, man."
Wow.
I said, "Well, because Shy and them, he taught me how to cover my brakes.
Yeah.
Keep my vision right.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm still like, these guys actually race, but that comes with that vision, body position, hand position, all this other stuff, your foot position. I used to wonder why they look like that while they riding. Like me, I'm just, but yeah, thanks to them, man. I if it wasn't for them, because I would have been T-shirt, none of this.
Right.
I was fully suited up. I had my Kevlar jeans, all that stuff, the jacket, the gloves, full gauntlet gloves, all that, helmet and all that.
Yeah,
but my survival skills kicked in, man.
No doubt. I mean, yeah, I stay geared up all the time on the streets, man. And I got jeans as Kevlar jeans as well, and Alpine style boots. They kind of look like construction boots, but they're race boots. And I will say, I like how they have protective gear that you can wear that you don't feel like you're at the racetrack when you go on the street. But gear, I think definitely more gear will keep people more intact. I don't know if it's going to necessarily save you if you hit something that's not moving, but if you slide down the road and you got gear on, it's a whole lot better. And like now the suits I have for the track, they got airbags in them, and I've crashed with one of them, and they're nice. And it's a lot nicer to crash with an airbag suit than without.
That's my next move right there. Yep.
So let's talk about how you got to the track. So you with these guys. Now they're called knee draggers. Are they the same guys that certified knee draggers, or that's completely different? Okay.
And I was like, man, hold up, man. It's two knee draggers, but I digress on that. I don't even know how to.
No, I just wanted to ask. I don't. We don't have to. That's not our bag, so we don't have to worry about that. I was just asking more just for clarification. So these guys, when did you decide to start going to the track? And obviously you raced with the dirt bikes and stuff like that. So when you got to the road tracks, what was that like your first time?
Let's see, I went. What year was that? It's like I forget what year it was now. But anyway, guy said, the 1000 I had the accident on, and I woke up in the hospital. Mm-hmm. I traded that for the bike I have now.
Okay.
Because it was already set up as a track bike. It was already set up. And I said, man, because I was like doing the math. I was like, okay, if I take my street bike and make it a track bike, it's going to cost this much. Because I was looking at all the stuff that you got to get. Make it into a track bike. I was like, man, and I ain't saying I ain't mechanical like that, but I just don't have the patience, so I traded my 1000 for his track bike.
Gotcha. So, and was that a 600 or another 1000?
Yeah, it was a 600. So I traded my 05 1000 for his track bike.
Okay.
Because he the one that kind of like taught me survival skills anyway. So me and him was cool. So traded. Got the bike. They said, "Hey man, who going to the track this week?" And I was like, "Track?" Now I had to look everything up. Now mind you, I had an iPhone 4 at the time, or what I forget what kind of iPhone. I had to figure it out, look up all this stuff, man. Make sure I had to, figure it out, pay for it, figure out
all registration, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, figure out how I'm gonna get there. Unfortunately, I had my truck back then, but I got there. So we had to track at this point, and we having a good old time. Now, I got the novice bib on.
Yeah.
So
all we got to do.
I'm riding around. I'm like, man, I need some more.
Okay.
Because they you know how they do. They make you stay in a single file and no passing until like towards the end of the day.
Right.
And then they let you kind of like cut loose and no passing on the inside or nothing like that. But but I kind of like figured it out. And they're gonna send me home because I made a mistake and passed somebody on the inside. The female coach came up to me and said, "You want to go home today?" Just like that. I was like, "Nah, what I do?" She said, "You passing on the inside." She was in my face like this.
Oh, listen, man. One of the first times I was pitting out the wrong way. So
wow.
So it's like when you knew, man. It's man. You make mistakes. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
nice. So now, before the end of the day, did you move up to the like intermediate, or did you?
Nah. But
So
the guys was like, "Yo, man, I think you need to get in the intermediate class with us."
Okay.
And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to do it right now." So, let me see, not the next one, but the one after that. So my third trip to the track, which was New Jersey Motorsports Park. So that was my first time. New Jersey Motorsports Park. That's my home track. I get there in 50 minutes.
Okay.
Third time to the track, I asked to be bumped up. And the reason why I did that is because the beginner class was getting too dangerous.
Oh, okay.
I mean, them guys, they was like almost coming to like a stop in the turns, and I was almost hitting them. You know, like my back tire was coming off the ground.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, So and one of the guys, he said, "I told you, I saw you in turn one. I saw you." I said, "Man, you better ask to be bumped up." And I said, "You know what? You're right, man, because it's like I'm not having no fun." So I went to one of the coaches and I said, "Can I get bumped up?" He said, "All right. The next session, I'm gonna be behind you, and I want to see what you're doing. And then I'm gonna get in front of you, and you're gonna keep up with me."
Right.
So that's what happened. So I got bumped up that day after the third session. The third session, I got bumped up. And then the rest of the day, I had a good old time, man, I swear. Yep.
You know, it's pretty crazy because I didn't do a lot of track days early on. I'm doing more track days in the last 4 years that I've done in the first 4 because I got my license and just started racing and didn't do any track days. So when you got on the track, 3 times in and getting bumped up and stuff like that, and having these guys around you, like, and you also raced dirt bikes. So like, what was your confidence like? So how are you feeling like riding home and stuff like that? Do you feel like, okay, I still got some stuff to learn, or you felt like, yo, I'm keeping up with these guys that I ride with on the street? So you felt pretty good about your skill sets.
Yeah, I felt a lot. I felt a decent amount of confidence, and the reason why I say that is because for the most part on a dirt bike, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Always on the limit.
Mm-hmm.
On a dirt bike, it's like you're trying to find traction, you lose traction. You're trying to do this, you slipping and sliding. You got to make this. You got to hit this line. You didn't hit it how you wanted to hit it. But then when I got onto like the sport bike on the track, it's like there's no bumps. And that's the first thing I said. You're like, "Yo, man, ain't no bumps, man. This thing, it's smooth out here."
It is bumps. But yeah.
It's bumps, but it's
not like a dirt track.
It's like it felt a little bit more free. Like I don't have to, my brain work different. It's like I feel on bumps and stuff. I don't feel like I'm gonna fall or nothing like that.
You got more time.
Yeah. So the confidence was there, but the one day when the owner of Team Promotion, he went past me with one hand on the bike.
Yeah.
And he motored away with one hand.
Uh-huh.
He did that on purpose.
To show you that you got more grip out here.
To show me that you what's going on. I mean, it's like the inputs, he was doing all his inputs with one hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, but I was like, I still was getting passed a lot for whatever reason. Like Michaela Moore, she passed me too.
Yeah.
Her brother, her dad, they all the whole Moore family just passed me, man. I was like, man, I'm getting frustrated. And then my man Melvin, I forgot how to pronounce his last name.
I think I know Melvin, the firefighter.
Yeah, his both his sons race.
Yeah.
So he said, man, it's all about body position, vision, because the slow if your vision is correct, the slow riders don't matter.
Right.
That's what he was telling me. But
Yeah.
I still got a lot to learn. I was like, man, I don't know. I got a lot to learn, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just was doing track days, going to Summit Point, New York Safety Track.
Yeah.
Out there in Western, I forget the name of that track.
Thompson, Palmer, West, not, I guess, which state?
Western Pennsylvania. I forget.
Pitt?
Yeah.
Oh, Poconos.
No. Not Western Pennsylvania. Pocono Raceway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went there. So I was just doing a lot of the local stuff.
You got a lot of tracks around you that's close by, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like living in Delaware, you go up north, west, and south. You can get to a majority of the tracks in the Atlantic District.
You go east. You can go out to the Bahamas, man.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was like, Coach Moore went out there. I was like, I ain't going with y'all, man.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get to some island tracks. Not to race, but maybe do track days because it's a little different. I think we'll appreciate the tracks a lot more. I've talked to some of the guys that have raced at tracks in the Caribbeans, and they're not as safe as up this way.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I went to a couple Jennings once.
Okay, yeah,
and I almost made it to Homestead, but I had vehicle issues, man. Went to the gas station, get some gas. I forgot my trailer was on the back, and I hit one of them things at the gas station.
Oh, wow.
And I got a dual axle trailer, and I bent the front axle on my trailer, so I didn't make it to Homestead.
Dude, listen, the first time, one of the first, not probably like the second or third time I drove from Homestead from Boston, I totaled my truck with the trailer in DC on, what is it, 395?
Right.
So, I've had my share bad luck on the track. Commuting and stuff like that. So now, do you do any? Have you started racing, or is it mostly track days? And have you done like any training beyond the guys that you're with at the track and stuff like that?
I started racing. I got my certificate in 2001 because I was BSing like for a long time, and I don't even have no real reason why. Just didn't. Got my certificate with Evolve in August 2021.
Okay.
So I was kind of like psyched about that, but that day I almost didn't get nothing because I left my damn suit home. So I had to rent a suit from Justin at Parts Club.
Yeah.
Luckily, he came through, and I got my certificate.
Wow.
Left my suit home. I was like, man, I put it. Man, it was when I got home. It's right where it is now, behind me.
Yeah.
On that rack.
No, listen. I haven't left a suit, but. I've left things. I try to get better with my checklist these days because it's the worst thing to show up and you're missing something. And you either got to, if you can run out and get it or get it from someone, great. But as one of my buddies says, you want to drive all this way just to come here and do nothing. So get your act together.
Yeah, man. It's like I got my checklist after that. And I was like, man, I got to do something because I can't have that. But then like after that, I did, of course, I did the mock race. And then I did a a couple Moto Gladiator races.
Cool. Yeah.
They're not CCS or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a step below, so you can get your feet wet.
Right.
So I did a couple of those at a couple of the track days that Evolve was doing.
Right.
So I did a couple of those. It did pretty good, but the competition is the competition.
Right.
So getting thirds and fourths, that was cool. And then like my first like real CCS race was at Summit Point.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. I like Summit. That's a nice fun track.
It was at Summit Point. I ain't do good. I just my nerves, man.
Yeah.
Like it was a long ride. I ain't sleep good, and it wasn't good. I don't even know. I think I got like, I don't know, maybe 10th or something. I thought I was gonna get better than that, but the 10th place was like people just kept passing me. They just kept passing me, man. It's like I was like, damn, I'm getting passed, man. It's like I'm standing still almost. And I knew what it was. It's like my body position, and it's like the nerves, and it's like I couldn't find nobody to get a toe around the track or anything like that. It's like, because once they get by, they just knew the track, and that's only my second time at the track. I couldn't figure out the track with racers on it. Like I did it once on track day, and once during the Moto Gladiator, and that was it. Yeah. Now the CCS is way different.
Right.
Yeah, because them guys, man, they racing for points and all this and that. And I wasn't.
Yeah. No, I raced. Loudon was part of CCS up until they became Neymar. And in 21, I started going up and down the East Coast with CCS. And last year was the first. I only did one race with them last year. No, I remember my first time going out with CCS and stuff. It's different, and it's if some people naturally just can figure it out, but going to a new track and learning that takes a little bit. And for me, like that whole first year was Summit was new, Roebling was new, CMP, NC Bike, Jersey, all the tracks were new for me that first year. And so it was a bit of a struggle. I think towards August. I started to find, my speed and stuff like that, but then you get to repeat some tracks. But it like mentally in the beginning, it's a lot. It's like you say, it's the travel. Like I used to show up the morning of and thinking I can just go do practice sessions and go out there and race. Now it's like, I got to show up the day before and set up and go through tech the night before. So when I wake up in the morning, you just focus on racing. You don't got to run around. You ain't got to do none of that stuff. So a lot of things for me was just my habits and how I got to the track. Cause Loudon was an hour and a half. So it's pretty like that. After a while, that was pretty easy to get to on a Thursday night. And then I'm there Friday through Sunday and stuff like that. But now I'm driving 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever, right? Going to Daytona or wherever. And so a lot of those habits, once I got better with those habits, I had more time to focus at the track. And so now I'm there before the sun go down the day before. And if I can get a practice session in on Friday or a track day on Friday, I'll take the track day, because it when you're driving home that Sunday, it makes life a lot easier.
Oh my God, man. The travel is the crazy part. Like getting to the track for me, it's like I want to say it's probably the most annoying thing once I get there and get my setup, get all suited up, halfway suited up and stuff, and get out there and feel what the feeling is and being on the bike and stuff. That's the sweet part right there.
Right.
But yeah, that travel's crazy, man. I ain't know Florida. When I was trying to get to Homestead, I ain't know Florida was that long, man. It was like I got to where North Florida, and then Homestead is like another
8-9 hours.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm not there yet. I'm starting to see Daytona signs. I'm still not there.
Nope. Dude, I did that like at least 6 times. And all the way to Mass. At least you at Delaware.
Yeah,
I wish I was going to Delaware.
I was like, man, if you coming from where you at, man, that's bananas, man.
No, it's once you get a system and stuff, it's a lot easier. I mean, I was fortunate at the time because I had a lot of vacation time, so I could take days off. I didn't have to like try to work and try to get to the track and try to drive to the track and stuff like that. So the pandemic helped in that regards, where I was able to move around a lot. But for people who have to be on site at whatever job they have or whatever they're doing, and then trying to get somewhere, within 8 hours of driving, it's tough. I mean, we'll see people pull up in the morning, and they're missing the sessions. They're just going to race because, they're just trying to regroup and get some energy.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's pretty wild, man. So, but I do, this year's the first year is going to be a little bit crazy for me as far as racing, because I was fortunate to be part of a team to do an enduro race back in February. But my first race week probably won't be until Wera in May. So, which in the past I'm pretty much racing from like February all the way down, and I stopped doing Homestead, but so I was going to Homestead in December up until they stopped.
Wow.
So it's a little crazy. So like, what's your plans this year? And are you racing the Atlantic round of CCS this year? Atlantic, Mid Atlantic?
All
of
them? Probably not all of them. And the only reason why I say that is because like my work schedule. And that's the only reason. The work schedule won't allow me, because I got a different position at work where it requires some different responsibilities and stuff like that. Like I have to plan certain things, people coming, like contractors and stuff. And I gotta plan certain things a certain way just to make it to the track. Like that, because like you said, man, it's hard to go race and show up that morning.
Yeah,
you can't. That's hard, man.
Yeah, unless you were sleeping, unless you were just a passenger and you're just waking up and unloading and going through tech. If you were like, I've tried and like pull up at like 6 a.m. and it's just like, it's not safe. It's just like, it's not even,
And somebody like me, I don't know, no disrespect. I don't like being the passenger. I don't like it, because I don't like knowing. I want to know where I'm going and when I'm going to get there. And the only way to get it like that is if I'm the driver.
The wheels. Yeah. No, listen, I did from 21 until now, I've put like at least 130,000 miles on my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And a good portion of that is just going racing.
Yeah, man. I used to tear some trucks up, man. Man, I put like almost like on average, like when I was getting it with the motocross, I would put like 21 to 23,000 miles on my truck every year.
Wow. Now, so you did the motorcar, so you're doing CCS. Are you still doing both? Do you still go and do some dirt races? You see some of these guys up north to do the ice riding in the winter on the ponds and stuff like that. You ever think about putting spikes on your dirty and go up to Mass or New Hampshire in the winter?
I don't know, man. Like me, I'm game to do just about anything, man. Like I don't know, like I keep saying, it's like my DNA, man. Like I was extreme X Games before it was called X Games. I was doing crazy stuff, man. Like talking about that, man. Put like 9 car tires up and see if you can get over them. You know what I mean? Off the dirt jump.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. We used to do that on dirt, on BMX.
Yeah, BMX. Get your BMX bike. Get you a dirt jump, stack like 9 car tires up, and like get it up like that.
Oh,
see if you can get up
tabletop, whatever.
Yeah.
I was there too, man. I did all. I guess that's still why I ride now and race and stuff like that, because it is like on BMX and basketball, cars. It's cheaper to race motorcycles than it is to race cars. But I'm definitely comfortable going fast. And always been that way since I was a kid. So it's nice to be able to get out there and do it and still appreciate it, and not be sitting on the sidelines, because there's no fun on the sidelines.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you gotta be out there, man. Getting there is the battle.
Yeah, no doubt. But I want to thank you for coming on tonight, man. I really appreciate you sharing some of your story. And it's pretty dope, man. Being able to ride from 14 to 20 to 29, at a pro level, man, is pretty cool, because there's a lot of kids that wants to do that, and we see it in Motor America and some of these club races, that some of these kids, they got the potential to go all the way, but they don't have the funds and the proper situation to get them to the next level, and it has nothing to do with their skills.
Yeah, at some point it just becomes a financial thing, and that's what kind of like took me a while, just because it's financial. Because like if you wanted to, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it like every week, or not every week, but at least race the whole series. But then once I was like, I don't know if I can do all that, man. And then I started calculating stuff, cost of tires. Yeah. That's the crazy part. Tires, just the normal weekend and week out bike maintenance, making sure stuff is right, and hope you don't crash.
Yeah. It's I try not to think about those numbers. Yeah. But I wouldn't have. I didn't do it when I was younger because I couldn't have, and I think that's one of the biggest things for young people. I'm doing it older, but I'm older, so it's the reality is a lot different. You know what I mean? Which means the how I approach it is different, because I'm realistic. I'm not going to club racing is the top that I'm going, and that, which is fine. And I've been enjoying myself to the utmost, but it's different than when you're 15, 16, or and you have your whole world in front of you. You're trying to get to places that you didn't even think of.
Yeah, because I was like, man, I don't know how Anthony Mazziotti and Brandon Posh, man, they just show up like on random track days, like late in the day. They'll bust out like maybe 3 sessions and then start talking to people and then go home.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things you learn over time. I do the same thing. I don't do every session at a track day. Like if there's 7 sessions, I'm definitely good for 4.
Yeah, it is tiring. I was like, man, I'm like my first like couple times, my first several times out, and especially if it was a new track, I was like, man, I'm getting my money's worth, man.
Right.
But it wasn't like that towards the end. Like right before I went to get my racing license, it stopped being like that. I was doing, like you said, 4, maybe 3 sessions in a day.
Yeah, make it count. You know what I mean, and work on the things that you need to work on. And you don't, like, once you become too tired, you got greater chances of making a mistake. And if I saw Valentino Rossi, say, if you're at the racetrack and you're not working on something, why are you here? Kind of thing. And so it's like once I'm good, I'm good. I used to think like every session, and then it just was then you're making mistakes, and for me, then I'm in my head more because I'm making mistakes, and then it's like you have to realize, well, you're getting tired, you're more fatigued, all these things are happening. When I'm at the racetrack, I don't necessarily eat as well as I do when I'm not. So I might drink more fluids, but I'm not really eating lunch like that.
Yeah, so a quick story. New York safety track. I might have had some bad Gatorade from the Walmart. I'm coming on the front straight, and I'm feeling sick, and it just comes out. I throw up in my helmet.
Oh wow!
So I'm blind coming down the front straight.
I'm almost, but never did yet so far.
I'm blind coming down the front straight. Now, mind you, turn 1 at New York Safety Track is like an off-camber-ish type like turn.
Yeah.
And if you miss that turn, it's a cliff way down, man. But fortunately, I got one eye clear and open.
It's like sneezing in a car, man. Like you do a bunch of sneezes, you gotta keep one eye open.
So I did the rest of the lap like that, and I could feel it going down my suit stuff. And they're like, "Yo, man, why you come?" But I'm with the knee draggers. They say, "Yo, man, why you ain't finished the session?" I said, and I could barely talk. I said, "Man, I threw up in my helmet, man."
Man, listen, I've dreaded that because, like I said, you drink too much Gatorade, and on the straights, and this was like a Daytona. This happened to me once, and you're laying on the tank for a longer period of time, and I felt it coming up, and I couldn't lay it on the tank, so I had to sit up. So I just did it,
Yeah, that was funny, but yeah, man, it's like I don't know. I just want to get, like, honestly, I'll probably do like 4 races this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure which one. Yes, I'm going to do Summit Point, and yes, I'm going to do New Jersey Motorsports Park. Now, the other 2, I don't know. Maybe, gotcha. I don't know. I'm not even sure yet.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat this year. I'm doing different clubs this year. So I'm probably gonna do a couple of Neymar up in New Hampshire. I'm probably gonna do a couple of CCS, a couple of Wera, and if I can get Pan America in as well, I'll probably end up doing more track days this year. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. The podcast is doing well, and I have more opportunities to do things, but I have less time to go racing now. Yeah. So it's just like, all right, well, which I hope that will change. But for this year, it's going to be, like I said, I'll probably get 6 rounds if I'm lucky racing, but hopefully I'll probably do closer to 8, maybe 10 track days. Mm-hmm. But it's helped to push the brand and do what we're doing here and stuff like that. So I really can't complain, but I do miss, I prefer racing over track days every day, all day. Yeah.
I just like to just be around the people and see who's doing what. Maybe I get better sponging off of somebody else, trying to get toes around the track or something. I learn something from somebody every time I go to the track. I learn something.
Right, and that's the thing you want to get, man. I mean, it's the same thing. It is like, I remember finishing 7 seconds off the top guys in the amateur class, and it's the beginning of the season, and the ride homes are never good because it's just like, bro, you're 7 seconds behind, man, come on. And little by little, like halfway through, I'm like, you're only 3 seconds slower now. There you go. And by the end of the year, like, I was with those guys, and that it feels really good to be able to wherever you start, but to have people that can push you and get you moving faster and stuff like that. And it's surprising because I can't say I planned it. I was more freaking out, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be quicker? But like, just focusing on what I could focus on, and just the little things, learning the track better, coming there sooner, being more prepared, well rested, all these things that just led me to where it was like, all right, you learn so much from the people around you, and which is like, and this is something that, and I've said this on the show before, but like, the never quit attitude that racers have, and I'm pretty sure people have this in other lives. Yeah. But like, you know, we see people in their suits trying to fix their bikes to go back out to the race because it's a red flag or to swap tires or whatever. And when I first started racing, if something didn't go right, I'll just roll the bike back in the trailer and deal with it for the next round. But then I found myself in like 23, start doing the same thing where before, like if there's a little bit of rain out, I'm not racing. Now I got rain tires. It could be a downpour. I don't care. I'm out there. So, you know, it like the racing community, you know, teaches you things about life or teaches things about yourself that you may not have known you had.
Indeed. Yeah. And it's like, I get like a lot of times, like I get excited when I go to the races and I start to see people all different backgrounds, especially people that look like me. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's people from all walks of life, but everybody's there to have a good time and race and be competitive with each other.
Yeah. And then drink beers afterwards if that's what you do and chop it up. It's pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? People give you parts and then you go race next to them. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful community. I always say the whole world needs to be like the motorcycle community.
It does. Right, man. The guys I grew up even started racing motocross. We still friends to this day. It's like for real.
Yeah, like, it's a whole different thing. I'm glad I'm in it because, you know, I didn't know it existed until I got in it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the biggest things about the sport. I think a lot of if you're not in it, you really don't know what it is. And I think if regular people who don't ride just go to the track and just hang out and just take it all in, I think they'll have a different perception because I think, you know, most people think it's dangerous and you're gonna hurt yourself, right? And that's where a lot of conversations end for a lot of people. There's a lot of guys I hear that tell them their partners won't let them buy bikes and stuff like that. So I know it's real.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
So, but yeah, man, I want to thank you for coming on. We'll leave it there. Tell folks how they can connect with you on social media.
I only see the thing is I ain't gonna lie, I ain't no social media dude, man. I ain't on Facebook.
Yeah.
I ain't on nothing else but IG.
Right.
If you want to see what I got going on, and it ain't a lot right now, but you can get me at IG on Race Fan 706 on Instagram.
There you go, man. Arnell, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Peace.
All right. I appreciate it, man.